Good afternoon. Today is the 27th of October, although you'll probably see this on round about the 29th of October. And it's been a little while since we bought our 2003 Rover 45 2-litre V6 Connoisseur. The distant hum maybe you can hear in the background is the N27. This is North Stoneham, which is a kind of new area of SLi where they're just building some homes and things. It's a bit more photogenic than for doing this car in our driveway. So we've had our car since about the 8th of June. Spent the first 2 weeks of its life with Mr. Coleman, the rubbish mechanic, having various bits of work done. We've actually done a lot of work to this car since we picked it up. And some of you have been asking for an ownership report of this car. It's done approximately 3,000 miles since we picked it up, maybe 3,500. I believe it was on about 65,500 miles when we picked it up. It's now getting sort of close to 69,000. It's something like that. The condition of the car when we got it was actually really bad. All the tyres were flat. 3 of them were completely gone. We've had all 4 tyres replaced on this car. The windscreen wiper blades were completely rubbish, and there were various other things we've had done as well. We've put a new radio in it because the Becker SatNav Pro unit that we think is the original one to the car didn't have a code with it, so we couldn't use it. Let's first of all take a look under the bonnet and I'll show you what work's been done under there. This is the 2-litre KV6 engine, but you can also find in a Rover 75. In this case, generating 150 horsepower. We've had the auxiliary belt changed in this car for a new one. We've had the plastic thermostat housing that you can't actually see, but it's under there somewhere in the V of the engine replaced, as our one spectacularly failed on the same day that we picked up the SsangYong Tivoli from a dealership in Freeman, Somerset. We've also had the inlet manifold plate replaced because the butterfly valves in the variable intake system, which is kind of this bit here, those made a horrible plastic clacking noise, which they do. It's a very common fault with these engines. A very kind chap called Jason in the Rover 45 and ZS Owners Club on Facebook, he very kindly furnished me with a new one, but it's actually off an identical car, and it was only £100, which is really good actually. Also replaced a little component which is to do with the cruise control system, if I can find it. It was plastic and now it's been replaced with a metal part. It's kind of this sort of area somewhere. I can never remember where exactly it is. The car's had a full service as well. New air filter, which is just there. Oil filter, new spark plugs, that sort of thing. It is due to have a new coolant reservoir fitted. I do have a new one, and I'm going to put a new cap on it as well because this one is ever so slightly cracking now. It's just a sign of age really, and the fact that it got a bit hot when a plastic thermostat housing failed. But it's pretty good under here that the battery was totally flat as well. It wouldn't even hold charge. It was, I think, a 2009 battery. The car had a cam belt service because there are 3 cam belts in a KV6 engine in 2018, so it's okay for a couple of years yet. They're a very expensive job on these engines. They're approximately £500, so it's very grateful to have that done before we bought the car. If I just climb in here to avoid getting eaten by midges, I don't know whether there's so many around here today, we'll see that the stereo is not the original. I have this changed for a Sony unit. One of my viewers, a gentleman by the name of Russell, came and did that. See, it's been changed for one that's actually paired with my phone via Bluetooth. Then it can do other things as well. We've got USB and aux in on this. Just turn that down because we don't really want any copyright infringement, which is You know, I actually have seen Laura Hackett Park in concert. She was very good, but we kind of had copyright infringement on YouTube. This car is actually very well equipped. It's a project drive car, which means that it's a later MG Rover era car. When they, you know, we're trying to cut costs, and so we've got things like the volume control for the steering wheel has been deleted. It should be here. We've still got the cruise controls on here though, and we've got the later type of instruments on here. These were introduced, I think, in early 2003. Ours is a March 2003 car, so this is one of the first cars to have these instruments, and they remained with the Rover 45 when they fitted to all models in mid 2003, right away through to the end in 2005, and they also went with the post facelift dashboard. This is a pre facelift car, but it's got post facelift dials on it for some reason. It's all very confusing. There are various engines available in a 45. This is the 2 litre V6. There were 1.4, 1.6, 1.8K series with 103, 108 and 118 horsepower. There was a manual version of each of those available. 1.4, 1.6 up until mid 2003 had the R65 Peugeot Rover co-developed gearbox, and then after mid 2003 you had a Ford IB5 unit. I had a 45 Club SE, a hatchback one that was a 2004 facelift car, and that had the Ford gearbox in it. There's also the I think it's called a step speed automatic from ZF Sachs on the 1.8 litre engine, but this is actually a Jatco 5-speed automatic. The 1.8 manual and the diesel, and as I found out recently, the MG ZS 180, which are, you know, they're all a very similar car to this really. They fitted with the Honda Rover developed PG1 gearbox. Look under here, you see the glove box is full of secret mission documents, or it would be. We've got the manual, which actually is also the service history, handbook and service history, which is a typical for MG Rover of the time. See, the door is sagging on the door card. That's very typical of these cars, as is the fact that the clock is only partially working. This probably would have had the traffic master system in it originally. I can't actually tell you whether it had that, because it does. You can actually see here the symbols there, but you can't see whether or not it's actually working, and it was turned off years ago anyway. But was in 2009 I got my last 45 that actually work. We've got things like, in here, just turn the lights on again so you can see. Air conditioning, we had that done actually. That was regassed by a local company in Southampton. Heated seats, those work, and it's nice and easy to actually use these. We've also got the what's fake wood, but it's quite nice. Dashboard in here is quite soft actually, which I like, although the airbag always sits a bit unhappy on top of there, because this car was actually based on a Japanese market car called the Honda Damani originally, that came out in '92, 1 year after the EG series of Civic, which actually the car is originally based on. There are various parts like this thing on the dashboard there, but actually are the same as an EG Civic. Right, let's take a look at the back. I actually have an MG ZS 180 review coming on the channel quite soon, and so, you know, if you want to see what it's like in the back of one of these, you can just watch that, because I'm not going to get in. It takes a while. It's a bit of a struggle. But there is an ashtray down there. There's also a nice, very, very lovely leather armrest. The leather in this car is probably not quite as nice as the leather that was fitted to the earlier V6s, like the one you would have seen on Ian Seabrook's Hubnut channel, which he doesn't actually own anymore, but I'm planning to film a video with it with the new owner quite soon, when lockdown and things finished. Still got baggy trim in here, but the electric window switch is actually there. You can either pop the boot using the release inside the car in sort of purest, you know, Rover Honda 90s fashion, or you can just use the key like this. Nice chrome surround on the boot as well, and you can touch the V6 because of that. And on the front of the car, there's a unique front spoiler and bumper. This is the inlet manifold that we originally had on the car. It's still okay apart from butterfly valves, made a horrible ticking noise, but I don't know why we keep it really. They are worth a bit of money, so I'm not holding on to that. That's various bits, including spare indicator stalks. I don't know why I keep those. As you can see, the boot's fairly large. I mean, we've got this dehumidifier in it today, and it seems to swallow that up nicely. The seats do fold, although I don't bother with that really, because it's a bit of a pain to actually make them do it. Underneath here there is actually a space for a spare wheel. Originally the car wasn't given to me with any spare wheel at all, and that was a bit annoying, but you know, there we go. We like it. In terms of economy, this car gets somewhere around 29 miles per gallon, which isn't the best really, but how many of these type of cars do you think there are around? I mean, maybe the VR6 engine borer, which is really more a rival to the MG ZS 180. Really there's not much to compete with this, because all the other cars of this size that have 6-cylinder engines are really, you know, things like the Lexus IS 200 and the BMW 3 Series E46, which really competed, I think, with Rover 75 rather than this. So it's a very unique proposition to have one of these, and with actually the numbers that have actually gone down in the last 3 or 4 months since I've had this car. There were about 100 on the road, and now there are 90. So they are a fast disappearing breed. If you want to see what one of these looks like in absolutely perfect cosmetic condition, then there's a video on the channel where actually I compare this to one which belongs to one of my channel viewers, he's called Wayne, and his car is cosmetically at almost 100%. If I was looking a little bit, you know, a little bit filthy, a little bit sort of, you know, daily driver, it's because it is. There's been some rust treatment on the bottom of this as well, because these cars do rust on the bottom where the front passenger sits. That's quite common. It's a pretty easy job to deal with that, and we have actually. There's no signs of rust anywhere else on the car, which is fantastic. We've had the rear brakes with the new pads done, and one of the things when we do the MOT, which will be probably the end of next month, we will be looking at maybe putting a new brake caliper on this car on the left hand side at the rear if it needs one. Certainly we'll be looking at doing an oil change on it and things, which will probably appear on Mr. Coleman's channel. We'll be getting the MOT done probably at his uncle's MOT garage, which is up in the West Midlands. So thank you very much indeed once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more Rover content, because there is more Rover content and more OG content to come over the next month or so. Please don't forget to like this video and to leave a comment below. I've also got an Instagram page, instagram.com/Lloyd Vehicle Consulting. No, sorry, that's Facebook, facebook.com/Lloyd Consulting. Instagram.com/Lloyd_Vehicle_Consulting. Thank you.